We know, it's not as saucy as the fast-shooting howitzer or the nifty sniper optics, but defense funding, as dry as it can sound, is the very foundation of how weapons and systems get to troops in the field. In an era where warfare is changing rapidly, from command and control networks to rapid fielding of drone capabilities, changing the archaic way the US funds its defense systems has to change too. Should it really take 2 full years or more to get money for new counter-drone tech? Undersecretary of the Army Gabe Camarillo joined us at AUSA to talk about the need for flexible funding.
You are looking at doing more flexible funding. In discussions with Congress, do you think you're making progress in this becoming a reality for the next budget cycle? And how do you see that potentially progressing if this works? What are some of the other areas you might want to tackle for flexible funding?
You have built into our appropriation process a projection of what our requirements are going to be 2 years ahead of the game. And if there's a CR, there could be longer than a 2-year wait time until you get the resources to be able to do what you planned to do 2 years ago. So a lot of what we're asking for is flexibility we're going to propose in the 26 budget submission, mostly in those 3 areas you mentioned, by consolidating budget line items. So what does that mean? Across the various programs of record and areas of spend that we have in EW, counter-UAS, and UAS, what we hope to do is to have enough flexibility within how those budget lines are structured that when we're in the year of execution, when the 26 appropriation gets passed, we'll have enough flexibility that we don't necessarily have to go to a reprogramming. And that will mean a significant amount of time savings and the ability to compete and bring in new technology very quickly. The feedback we've gotten from the Hill has been very promising to date. I think a lot of members recognize that we need to do something different, just given the constraints of our budget process. They also recognize at the Appropriations and Authorization Committee staff level that there's a need to try out new approaches. Rather than asking to do it across a wide section of the Army's budget, we came up with 3 use cases that we think illustrate the need to go fast and give us a good example of where we could use this authority. What we're working on right now with the committees is discussions about how we can ensure that we maintain proper oversight for Congress and how the money gets spent at the same time that we have the flexibility without having to necessarily go through a reprogramming process.